All right, welcome to episode 3 of Vainu Live. And this time we're talking about our product, namely our new release for the global data and our new global Hubspot connector. Great to see some activity in the chat already. People are from Finland, Netherlands, Copenhagen. Great. And you can use the chat during the live event. You can just post questions there and we'll answer them in the appropriate spots. And we have Mikko here, co-founder and product manager for the Vainu Global product. And well, Mikko, this is a pretty big week for us at Vainu. So we're now launching our global database, Vainu Global, and our new Hubspot connector, Vainu for HubSpots. Since you're the product manager here, and your team has been working very hard for a long time, can you tell us a bit about what this new release offers and why did we decide to do it?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, it's a new global database. So many of you know that we have been providing company data mainly in the Nordics the past 8 years. And quite often existing customers and also prospects, they've been asking us to do the same, but also outside the Nordics in other parts of Europe, North America, and so on. So then we spent lots of time thinking how to actually make it happen. And this product has been in the works for the past 2 years or so. And now we're releasing it and we already have existing customers. So in brief, it's a global company database. At the moment, 63 million plus companies worldwide. And maybe the unique thing compared to the Nordic offering is that we don't use business ID or VAT number as a unique ID for the company, but we use website domain as a unique key. So we can provide lots of website insights. And of course, that works super well with many of the marketing automation and CRM tools, such as HubSpot. That's what we're releasing. And of course, the aim is to provide company data and help sales and marketing teams, not only in the Nordics, but also outside the Nordics. So that's the long story short.
Excellent. I think it's time to go deep dive right into the new offering. So let's talk about the data that's actually included in the release. I think we should start with the basics, which means firmographic data.
Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to do a screen share if I know how to do it with contrast. You should be able to see the screen now, right?
Yes.
If you can activate that one. So yeah, we really focused on firmographic data and also technographic data and web insights. So firmographic data, by that I mean industry, company size, and location. And I'm very happy that we were able to sort of innovate in all those categories. So first one, I think this is something we discussed also in the last episode, Vainu Custom Industry. So we wanted to bring and release something that is more accurate than standard industry codes. So we came up with the concept of Vainu Custom Industry. So we have a taxonomy of more than 900 labels, and that includes like these modern industry verticals such as software as a service. In the past, you always had to search for only high level industries such as software or healthcare or manufacturing. But now you can do actually quite cool searches. You can search for SaaS businesses and also that they are a SaaS business doing a specific offering like employee benefits. These type of results. You can also adjust the confidence scores that you have. So if you want to have companies that are even more SaaS, you can actually look at the confidence score of these companies. And I mean, there's plenty of that type of searches available. So confidence score is the one that we have for industry labeling, and 900 categories in total. And like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, software as a service. So especially if your ICP definition includes sort of searches that where the industry vertical is modern, then it's very easy to do that type of searches with Vainu Global.
Great. Well, when it comes to firmographics, usually there's the golden triangle of industry, location, and size. And I know we've been innovating a lot with determining the size of the company and the location as well. So could you describe how we do it and how it actually looks like?
Yes. So I guess then I need to do the screen share again. Just a second. Screen share here and tab. So if industry is the first firmographic data point, then company size, we actually have a couple of different indicators for company size. And again, there's something proprietary in that. So first we focus on employee count and employee count ranges. So this one is another model that we came up with. So we look at the whole website content, the site structure, the technographics they're using, the website traffic, different type of sub pages, if they have investors page, how many addresses they have on the website, simply to come up with the employee count range. Because typically sales ops, sales marketing people, they use these sort of classes that they put all the micro companies to startup team, and then they have an enterprise team focusing on larger opportunities. They have an SMB team. So we predict the employee count range for all companies, and it's an AI model that we use. And the good thing with that model is that even though sometimes it might make a mistake, but the mistake is always small because it's looking at if the highest likelihood if it's an enterprise category or large category and so on. So it doesn't do big mistakes, like enterprise companies won't be labeled as micro companies, for example. Another one that we have and that I'm using here as well is website traffic. I think especially if you sell to e-commerce sites or you're a SaaS provider, you have something, a product that is implemented on a website, we can look at the website traffic. We cover top 9 million websites worldwide, and every single one of them gets a number, which is a ranking. So now, for example, this search is looking at companies that are in the SaaS industry using HubSpot, and based on web traffic, they all belong to top 1 million websites. So, and then we have 327 companies left. And then the third firmographic is, of course, location. Also there, we wanted to do something innovative. We don't just use existing business registries or social media sites as LinkedIn, but we actually look at the company website and then extract the addresses from the website, and then we parse country information, city information, postal code information out of those address strings. And by applying this methodology, I think the biggest value add in terms of location is that we can provide multiple locations per business. So not only the HQ location, but also the other countries of operations and also this location count. So very useful if you have a product or a service that is both on a regional level. You can, for example, check all your US-based customers, and if they have offices or like business going on in other countries where you have a sales team, such as in Germany or UK, France, or in the Nordics. So that's like those are the firmographic data points, and there's always our own unique model, and that's why it's proprietary data that we can provide.
I also want to highlight, obviously, technologies is a very, very important data point. We talk about companies, for example, who want to sell the companies that use a certain technology. Can you give an example of how you can use this powerful technology filter to find these companies?
Yes, I think I'll do a screen share again. Like I showed you already in the previous search. Let me do screen share again. So under the web profile, we have technologies, and we have plenty of course options. I think there are 14,000 technologies that we track. And I mean, if you for example sell a product, and it's important that you want to know if companies are using another tool that your tool integrates with, then of course you can easily find all for example, for us now, we are releasing this global product and it connects with HubSpot super well. So for us, we want to focus on companies that are already using HubSpot. So HubSpot is one of those examples. But I mean, there's plenty of providers that are targeting e-commerce sites, and then they want to know if the site is using Shopify or Magento. There's plenty of companies that want to understand what type of chat technology, what type of application tracking system is in use. So we have 10 plus categories for technologies, and we also have lots of regional technologies that we track. If you want to know if somebody's using Personio HR tool that is, I believe, from Germany and so on. So technologies are also included, and that's called technographics in the global database.
That's very interesting, and obviously we talk about these data fields or data points that we provide, but we have some other cool functionalities in the release, like well, you showed the VCI, the Vainu Custom Industry Confidence Score filtering, but could you talk about other things, like we have the API and the CSV exports?
Yeah.
So could you talk about these a bit?
Yeah, I'll actually start with the still with the custom industry confidence score. This is actually new. Many of you have been using Vainu Custom Industry so that you can pick a specific, like 3D printing, for example. But then there's this confidence score that if you want to get companies that are even more clearly, for example, in this case, doing 3D printing. So we have this confidence score, and I built them ready. So if you have the total number, it goes up to 89 million. But then if you increase the confidence score, you get less results. But these companies are even more obviously operating in the 3D space. And if you just keep increasing the confidence score, you get even less. But then these are the sort of most obvious 3D printing companies that are out there. And you mentioned an API. All these data points that you see in company profiles, they're also available through an API. So if you want to access, for example, all these industry labels regarding protolabs.com, these are the industry labels they get. We have the web profile. If you want to know the exact traffic ranking, how many languages they have on the website, the countries where they operate. This company, for example, has Japan, UK, and US. The technologies, all these data points are available through an API. That's useful if you have a sort of your own cloud database where you maintain your company data and connect that with your CRM. So we can provide an API for that. Then our platform team, they did an excellent job also providing a new CSV export if you want to get these data points into Excel or CSV file. So there's this download button here, and you can pick and choose the data fields you want to include in that file. So if I want to have the HQ location, countries of operations, if I want to get Vainu Custom Industry data, descriptions, company size, and then you can even decide the order of the columns in the CSV file. I think this one has been one of the most requested features because it's so good that you can get you create a search and then you take the data out into Excel. Also very good for enrichment because you can simply upload a list of domains, so just an Excel file including the websites, and then you can do the same thing. We recognize and detect these companies, and then you can enrich that simply by adding the data fields you want for that list, and that's very good for enriching, for example, certain lists for marketing. So those are some of the good examples that it's super easy to enrich data with Vainu Global.
Yes, indeed. Well, for example, at Vainu, this is a perfect use case for marketing. So we spend a lot of money on LinkedIn ads, and we create the matched audiences through this tool. So it's very easy for me to, pick the industry, pick the technology, the locations. Then when I get the export the list, which I upload to LinkedIn, and I can move the tabs to the right places, and we provide the LinkedIn link as well, which basically guarantees a very high match rate in LinkedIn matched audiences. So, like for me, it takes like 3 minutes to create a LinkedIn matched audience, So I think this is one of the most powerful ways to use Vainu for marketing in this new offering.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly important data field to get that LinkedIn link, because then just uploading a file into LinkedIn Campaign Manager, and then you can pick and choose of course the titles and roles on the LinkedIn side.
And before we move on to talking about Vainu for HubSpot, our new HubSpot connector, I would just like to point out a thing about a very popular data point that people tend to use is contact data. So will contact data be included in our Vainu Global offering?
Yeah, regarding contact data, three points that I wanna make. First of all, we don't wanna be a provider that provides like bulk contact data. So if you need all marketing directors and their email addresses, we're definitely not the solution for that. The reason is that we don't want to like promote salespeople to do spam. Also, I think it's very, very challenging to do that in a GDPR compliant way. But what we do instead, number one, is that we want to allow people to do smart account-based marketing. So for example, that's why we provide the LinkedIn ID, so that you can do whatever search you want. We have also website keyword search, so you can do very specific search with Vainu. Then you take the list of those companies and you have the LinkedIn link. That list can be uploaded to LinkedIn Campaign Manager, and then on LinkedIn, you actually pick and choose the roles and titles if you want to target marketing people or sales ops people or HR or finance and so on. So I think that's sort of the workflow we want to do. Then when it comes to HubSpot connector, most of you have lots of existing contacts and you have already consent from those individuals that you can have their contact details in your marketing automation system. So when it comes to lead scoring, whenever there's a new lead, often comes with an email address that pops up in your HubSpot. We can help you with lead scoring because we provide company properties. When the new contact gets created in HubSpot, at the same time, very often a company gets created and we enrich that company. So then you can use our company data fields as company properties in HubSpot, and that can be used in lead scoring. So that's sort of our approach when it to contact details and how to also profile individuals and help customers with lead scoring.
And obviously this also means that you don't need to ask certain things on the form, because we enrich the contact. For example, with Vainu, in most of our forms, we ask for the email address. With that email address, we get the company domain, and then we can enrich the company properties to that contact in HubSpot. Talking about HubSpot, I think we should move on to talk about our new HubSpot connector, which we've been building for a while and is incredibly straightforward to implement. And I know, Mikko, you've been doing these implementations a lot recently with customers who have started using Vainu Global. Can you talk us through on how it works?
Yes, happy to do that. So now let's go to the connector. So I think that's the maybe the biggest advantage of building this by using domain as a unique key. We can provide extremely high match rates with HubSpot. So if you want to use a third-party vendor to enrich your HubSpot and to provide additional data fields, it always starts by connecting your HubSpot companies with that external database that you're using, in this case, Vainu. And since we use company website, meaning domain as a unique key, and that seems to be more or less also the unique key HubSpot is using, we can provide very high match rate. This example, of course, I only have 502 companies in my HubSpot, match rate is 100. But when it comes to the first initial users, international companies with tens of thousands of companies in HubSpot, match rates have been like 99.55, 96.0, 99.77. So it's very high, as long as you have the domain company property field in your HubSpot. And then after that, it's a very automatic process. And I think, you can just try it out for free if you want. We also automatically do the company or the data mapping. So once you have connected your HubSpot companies with companies in Vainu, then this happens automatically. We suggest that these are the data fields we'd like to bring over. So the ones that I already mentioned, what's the HQ location, how big is the company. This is a specific one, redirect information. So if you have domains in your HubSpot that are permanently redirecting to another domain, this is super important for keeping your HubSpot clean. One of the initial customers, they had roughly 40,000 companies in HubSpot, and we found out that 3,000 out of 40,000 have domain that is permanently redirecting, meaning that those companies have been acquired by others. So of course, super helpful to basically by doing a couple of clicks to clean 8% of their HubSpot companies. Also, Vainu custom industry data goes very nicely. And for some of these data points, we automatically create the company property for your HubSpot. So you don't have to do anything and manage properties or things like that. You can just click the button and we automatically create the new properties that are needed. Vainu segments, web traffic, all this information goes over. And once you're okay with the data mapping, then you can simply go to data updates. You can still select the fields that you want to update. We provide 3 options for update. One is that if you don't want us to update one of the properties, then you can just leave it out. If you want us to update, you can always pick and choose if Vainu should overwrite the information you have in HubSpot. If you always overwrite, then we will bring the latest data on that. Or you can decide also to update that property only if that data already comes from us or if you don't have any value in there. So 3 options for all data fields, and basically you just select what you need. And then when you're happy with that, then you can go back and turn on either one-time update or just keep it automatically up to date, and then you don't have to do anything, and the data is always very accurate. Do I have time to quickly also show something called mass export?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah. So I think this is really interesting for sales ops and sales enablement people. I think it gives sort of superpowers for those individuals to create campaigns. So we do it because in the data mapping, it's not only company objects that you can map. You can also map, for example, tasks and notes. And I've already done it, and also how this actually works. So if you have a search that you like, let's say I have this. So I created a search. I'm using IT management and IT consulting. So I want to go after IT management and IT consulting companies that are clearly Microsoft Gold partners. So then I did a website keyword search that they need to mention Microsoft Gold on the website, which is a good indicator that they are Microsoft Gold partners. And then I wanted to only have SMB companies, so companies with 51 and 200 employees. So then I have 277 results. I can, as a sales ops or sales enablement person, I can send these companies to HubSpot. And then what happens is quite unique. So of course, some of these companies might already exist in my HubSpot. So let's assume 77 of these companies already exist in HubSpot. We detect that one and we don't create duplicates, meaning that only 200 new companies will be created. However, all these 277, so 77 existing ones and 200 new ones, they will also get a new property called Vainu segment. And then you can type in, it's basically the name of the list, Microsoft Gold, IT management, and IT consulting. So then salespeople will immediately know that, hey, this company is part of this campaign. If you also decide to send a task at the same time, then people who own these companies in HubSpot, they will also receive a task saying that, hey, new campaign, let's go after these Microsoft partners as we discussed, and let's use the sales playbook designed for that campaign. And since we create also new companies, you can also decide how we assign these new opportunities for salespeople. You can pick yourself, or you can pick, for example, the group of SDRs. And if you pick 5 SDRs, all these companies will be split and divided evenly between the individuals you choose. And most likely you don't want to override current owners. So if you had 77 of these companies already in HubSpot, they will remain in that existing ownership, and those individuals will just receive a task that, hey, this existing company that you have in your portfolio, there's a campaign, Microsoft campaign for IT management and consulting, time to reach out. And I could show you also how it looks on the HubSpot side. So I need to go to HubSpot and share it. So then again, I have these 502 companies in HubSpot. So when I do the mass export, this Vainu segment information is visible in this column. So this is IT management consulting, Microsoft partners. And then I have all the information that I decided to update from Vainu. So in the past, I was relying on just the industry data provided by HubSpot Insights. And of course, I mean, it's not super useful because all these companies are most likely consulting or software. But Vainu Custom Industry brings me lots of labels that I know exactly what type of IT management and consulting they're doing. Are they focused on cybersecurity, consulting, cloud computing, cloud data services, or what? And then this tag is visible here. Also, as a main user, you can modify your company view in HubSpot so that you have our custom industry data here. And I mean, this is what we had before Vainu integration. We just knew that this company is computer software, but now we know exactly what they do. And this Vainu segment tag is also visible. So IT management, consulting, Microsoft partners. And if I go to my tasks, I also have this new task, new campaign task, Microsoft partners. And I also have a note here saying that this company is part of the ICP campaign that was created by Sales Ops. And I mean, as a Sales Ops person, you can even write down some notes that, hey, when reaching out, remember to use these case studies that we have with those customers. So I think this is maybe the feature, especially Sales Ops people have liked the most when it comes to our existing pilot customers, because they can really steer SDRs, BDRs, and AEs to go after the right type of companies. And by using tasks, you can also easily track return on investment and if there's actually new pipeline being created because of this.
I think this also answers the question about from the audience that is Vainu segments different from Vainu custom industries. As you saw there in the HubSpot view, Vainu segments is a tag you create yourself while you export the companies to HubSpot, and Vainu custom industries is our proprietary industry taxonomy category.
Yeah.
And
maybe one quick point about Vainu segments and custom industries. So custom industry, it's an existing taxonomy, and we have most of the modern industries covered. But I mean, we know that the ICP definition might be very unique for customers. And sometimes it is that, hey, I want to go after companies that mention free trial or website builder or certified Cisco partner or daily lunch on the website. And of course, we can't have Vainu custom industries for every keyword search in the world. But then by using Vainu segments, you can do whatever search you want with Vainu Global, save it as a list, and then the name of that list will be Vainu segment information in that property in HubSpot. And then creating a note and task at the same time, you know that salespeople will go after those companies. So it's really a tool designed for sales ops and sales directors.
Also very useful for marketeers when creating those audiences. And there was a question from the audience which actually relates to probably my next point, which is we'll be talking about HubSpot a lot, but what if you don't use HubSpot? How can you extract the value out of this new Vainu Global offering?
Yeah, we have actually we have some Salesforce customers. We have also some private equity VC firms that are not using CRM at all. So some of them use it through an API. So if you have your own sort of customer data platform that you have it in the cloud, then I think API is the way to go. And often that cloud database is then connected with other systems. So we provide a powerful API, and the documentation that you need is available at developers.vainu.com. Then we have Salesforce customers. We don't have yet built the connector for Salesforce so that you could just connect it the way we did it with HubSpot. But of course, you can very easily upload lists. You can take lists out and then do a one-time update on Salesforce as well. Quite often, Salesforce customers are also quite big, and they typically have their own customer data platform, and that's the platform they connect with Salesforce. And then by using Vainu API, we can provide all these data points to them as well. So I think Salesforce and HubSpot customers are the ones that will find Vainu Global to be most useful. Always good to keep in mind that you need to have the domain, meaning the website URL information, in your own records so that you can connect Vainu company with a company in your database. So we're not using business IDs, DUNS numbers, VAT numbers, but we look at the website and we call it internet entity. That's what we focus on.
Okay, so we've been implementing customers already to this Vainu Global product, and obviously you, Mikko, have been keenly involved with those implementations. How's the feedback been so far from companies that have used the data, and what kind of sort of pain points have we been able to solve for our customers?
Yeah. So I think every single one of them has been willing to give us a quote, which is nice. And typically when you give a quote, it's quite positive. Number one, for those who use HubSpot Connector, I think the fact that match rate is so high is something that they're positively surprised. And also that the fact that we create the data mapping settings automatically, it saves so much time, and all these new properties that you need in HubSpot, they get created automatically. That's definitely been one. Then there's always a couple of unique data fields, like the one very large manufacturing company in Europe. The fact that we were able to identify those like non-active domains because they're permanently redirecting to other places. I mean, simply by doing a couple of clicks, we cleaned the required 8-9% of their HubSpot companies right away. The confidence score filtering, like we talk about SaaS companies a lot, and if you just do the search SaaS, you get almost 180,000 companies in Vainu, but you want to focus on the ones that are very clearly SaaS. I mean, Google.com gets SaaS label, but some people might say that, well, Google is SaaS, but it's not as SaaS as another company that's only doing SaaS. So then if you increase the confidence threshold, you get less results, but even more obvious hits. So I think that's something that like account executives and salespeople have liked a lot. Then at least based on my understanding, there's no other vendor who can provide such a deep website keyword search at the moment. So if you really need to find all companies mentioning a specific thing on the site, and the search is fast because we index all those pages, and we don't only do the search on the main page, but we also index the sub pages. So then you simply get more results if you need to find certified Cisco partners or Microsoft Gold partners or all the ones that are providing daily lunch. All these are actually real life examples.
Okay, I think that covers the most of the information we wanted to convey today. Mikko, if people want to try this out, how can they do that?
If you use HubSpot, what I would do, I think there's a free trial demo request CTA on the new Vainu website for sure. So I would actually try it out first. And the best way, if you use HubSpot, is to connect with your HubSpot. You will see the match rate. You will see how good it is. You'll see also the data points, that these are the data points we could bring over. And of course, it also opens up the global search for you. So that's what I would do as a HubSpot customer. Then if you use Salesforce or if you use Dynamics, Pipedrive, we can open up the search platform. All those 63 million companies and very soon 64 million companies, since we're automatically adding new entities all the time. And then you can do any type of search. That's also something that you can do free of charge. Then typically you only start sort of, you need a paid license only if you start bringing that data out from Vainu, either to HubSpot or CSV files, or if you use the API at scale and so on. But I would just try it out. And we have a good documentation on the data fields we cover. So because we want to be very specific with the data points and then be really good with the data points that we cover. And that's why I think we have done a good job to innovate around firmographic data, company size, company location, industry verticals, and then these deep website insights. But I would just try it out, and you might then also want to have a call with your account manager, or if you're a completely new company, then one of our AEs can also jump in and have a meeting with you.
Excellent. I think this about sums up the release. Of course, we will post the release notes blog post on Vainu's LinkedIn page after this session, so make sure to check it out. And obviously, you can get a free trial from vainu.com, free trial, which is also in the chat. We're going to stay here to answer some questions. If you want to post them in the chat. I think there was one question about, in case of startups, can we find out about their funding stage, and revenue through Vainu Global?
Yeah, the company size indicators that we provide are employee count range and then web traffic. Typically, of course, if the company is having lots of momentum, web traffic seems to grow quite a bit. So that's one way of tracking companies with strong momentum. There are some things in the works regarding collecting the number of job openings they have on the website and so on, but then maybe that's a topic for another episode a little bit later. We don't have like funding data the way Crunchbase and these companies, for example, provide it. And you never know, at some point we might add it, but we wanted to focus on the key firmographic data points first. Revenue figures there, of course, they would be estimates anyways. So we decided to pick employee count instead because it's easier for our AI model to predict. And that combined with web traffic, that's the size indicator that we have. Also the number of offices, which is the total location count, quite useful when it comes to identifying if the company is a micro opportunity or SMB opportunity or enterprise opportunity.
Great. And then another question, can you export in other formats besides CSV?
The CSV is the default option there, but then you can of course convert that into other formats, and then API is most likely the way to go if you need it as a JSON file, for example.
Great. Okay. I think if there are no more questions, then if you want to talk to us a bit more deeply about your own use cases, you can go to our website, ask for a free trial. Depending on the country, there could be also less internet presence, especially for smaller companies. Are you still able to find companies that are not present on the web?
No. So you need to have a website to be in this database. So simply if you sell to like those companies that don't have a website, then they're not part of the database. And that also means that since all the insights that we provide, sort of they come from the website based on we always use the website data as input and then our own models to come up with the proprietary data. So I think this is a super good way to access company data if you see the world around websites. So all the other companies providing services and products for e-commerce, for example, great. Also all the SaaS businesses, software companies, very often you have some sort of script that you need to put on the site and you look at each website as an opportunity, even if there are just two different brand sites. But if the company does not have a website, it won't be part of that 64 million companies that we have in the website.
Not a question. What about if a company has multiple domains? How does this data get corrected in HubSpot?
Yes, I mean there's plenty of companies that have multiple domains. When we do the matching we look at the domains you have in your HubSpot. So if you have, what could be an example? I mean, Slack is owned by Salesforce, right? But there are two different websites. So if you have slack.com and salesforce.com in your HubSpot, we will enrich both of them. But if you have, let's say, it's a Finnish example, pöyry.com, and pöyry is redirecting to a Swedish domain these days. If you have pöyry.com and that Swedish domain, then we will actually inform you that, hey, by the way, this pöyry.com is nowadays permanently redirecting. You should consider merging these two accounts. So we'll help you keep the database clean. We have been thinking about introducing something called related domains, so that we would also link slack.com and salesforce.com together. Already now there's one way of doing it. If they have the same LinkedIn profile, those two companies, then you could actually use the LinkedIn ID and sort of see that these domains are part of the same group. But related domain, again, is maybe a topic for the future episodes. I also saw a question from Matthias, if all countries are included in global data. By global, we mean, yes, it is global. But if you try it out, you'll see that it's especially designed for sort of Western world. So Europe, super good coverage, North America, South America, also countries outside those regions where websites are often in English or Spanish, Australia, Mexico, those are all well covered. Where we don't do a super good job yet is, for example, some of the Asian countries where they also use different characters like Japan and China and Russia. So those are not well covered. But EMEA, North America, South America, Australia, these places are part of the global. Good questions, by the way.
Yeah. And the domain thing, the redirect seems to be very appreciated with this audience. Okay, nice. So let's start with continue with Mikko's question. I've noticed that sometimes company registry URLs, such as Uudenmaan yritysrekisteri, are included. These URLs fetch companies that are not actually related to my search intent. I don't know if you're aware of this, but is there a fix for this coming?
Seems to be that the question comes from a person who's using the existing business ID database where we also have websites connected to companies. But with the global offering that gets released, we have our own tool that is filtering out non-company websites. Another AI model, a little bit like if you use email, there's a spam filter that it filters out spam, and these filters are super good these days. We have a company website filter, so we filter out non-company websites, and we try to always produce the sort of the root domain so that we don't have any subpages included. If you have an example, I'm happy to take a look. So in the global database, we shouldn't have that type of cases. Then Mikko is asking, pöyry.com, pöyry.se, two domains, and primary domain is pöyry.se. We've been working with Whois data. I mean, this is quite technical answer. Whois data and RDAP data. Our plan is that we could connect those domains that simply have where the only difference is the TLD. TLD is the last part of the domain, like .sc, .fi, .com. So would like to group them together. Right now, you need a couple of extra steps to do that. We consider them as separate domains at the moment, as long as they're not redirecting. But it's also good because if you have those two different pöyry.se, pöyry.com, pöyry.fi, and let's assume that they're not redirecting. If you have all of them in your HubSpot, then we can also enrich every single one of them, and we want to keep it that way. But we're working on the domain registry data by using Whois and RDAP data, so that we could also say that all these domains are owned by same entity.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. If someone would like to ask it, let's just wait for a little while.
No one is asking, but I think some people might think pricing. pricing is simple. 1,000 euros a month annual contract. So 12,000 euros is the fee for global, and that opens up the full database HubSpot integration, or the connector is included. Then we have something called credits. So we look at the number of companies you want to either enrich or mass export out. And then we have our own calculator that we can share with you. But already the basic fee includes quite a few thousands of companies. But I think it's sort of good for customers as well, that there's the baseline fee and it opens up the whole global. And then it really comes down to how much data you need, basically how many companies you have in your HubSpot and how many new companies you want to add throughout the year. That's really how the pricing thing works.
Great. And while Mikko asked and answered this question, there were no new questions. But again, go to vainu.com, ask for a free trial. We also have a chat on our website, and our experts can answer your questions there as well. And I think this about sums this third episode of Vainu Live. And thank you very much for everyone taking part in this and asking very good questions. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.